The air crackled with raw power. It was as if the very atmosphere was alive, charged with an energy that defied comprehension. Each spark, each arc of electricity seemed to dance with a life of its own, illuminating the darkness with brief, brilliant flashes. It pulsed in waves, unseen but felt deep within. These waves were not just disturbances in the air. They were ripples in the very fabric of reality. Each pulse sent shivers down the spine, a reminder of the immense forces at play in this otherworldly arena. This was not a place for mortals. The landscape was alien, filled with ancient ruins that spoke of civilizations long gone. It was a surreal environment, empty yet filled with the echoes of past battles and the whispers of forgotten legends. This was the hyperdimensional arena, a place where the boundaries of reality were blurred and the rules of existence were rewritten. Here, the cosmos itself was the chessboard, and the stars were the pieces in a game of unimaginable stakes, a battleground existing outside of time and space. Here, reality was fluid. It shifted and changed, bending to the will of those who dared to play. Wormholes and swirling galaxies were mere backdrops to the epic confrontations that took place. It bent to the will of the players. The chess pieces moved on their own, guided by unseen hands. The board itself morphed and changed, responding to the strategies and desires of the players. It was a game of intellect and willpower where every move could alter the course of reality. A game was in progress. It was ancient, eternal. The stakes, existence itself. The silence was absolute. The players, shrouded in mystery, focused intently on the board. Each move was deliberate, calculated and fraught with consequence. It pressed in from all sides, heavy and expectant. The fog was thick, almost tangible, as if it were a living entity watching the game unfold. Shadows danced in the dim light, adding to the sense of foreboding that hung in the air. Then a low hum began to vibrate through the non-space. It was a sound that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. The vibrations resonated through the very core of the arena, a prelude to something monumental, a feeling more than a sound. It grew in intensity. The light began to grow, pushing back the darkness. The vibrations in the air became more pronounced, more insistent, as if heralding the arrival of a force that could not be ignored. The very fabric of this place strained against some unseen force. It was as if the arena itself was being tested, pushed to its limits by the power of the game. Space-time distorted, bending and twisting in response to the immense energies at play. The game was reaching its climax. The tension was palpable, the air thick with anticipation. Each move brought the players closer to the final, decisive moment. The fate of existence hung in the balance, waiting for the final move that would determine the outcome of this eternal struggle. The chessboard was a constantly shifting expanse. It was not just a simple board with black and white squares, but a living, breathing entity. Each square seemed to pulse with its own energy, a microcosm of the universe itself. The boundaries between the squares were fluid, sometimes merging and sometimes splitting apart, creating a landscape that was both familiar and alien. Nebulae swirled into being, forming squares of impossible colors. These nebulae were not just static clouds of gas and dust. They were dynamic, ever-changing, and full of life. They seemed to breathe, expanding and contracting as if they were alive. The colors were beyond the spectrum of human vision, hues that defied description, and yet they formed a coherent pattern, a cosmic tapestry that was both beautiful and terrifying. Galaxies collided and died, marking the passage of time in this timeless place. Each collision was a cataclysmic event, a dance of destruction and creation. Stars were born and died in the blink of an eye. Entire solar systems were obliterated, and yet from the chaos, new forms of life emerged. It was a reminder that even in the most violent of events, there is a kind of order, a pattern that repeats itself across the eons. Black holes winked in and out of existence, their event horizons rippling across the board. These were not just voids of nothingness. They were gateways to other dimensions, portals to realms beyond human comprehension. The event horizons were like the surface of a pond, rippling and distorting the space around them. They were both a threat and an opportunity, a challenge to be navigated by the players. The pieces themselves were ever-changing. They were not just knights, bishops and pawns, but entities of immense power and complexity. Each piece had its own personality, its own agenda. They were like actors in a grand cosmic play, each one playing its part to perfection. They could change form at will, Adapting to the ever-shifting landscape of the board, they morphed and flowed, reflecting the fluctuating balance of power. One moment, a pawn could become a queen, a symbol of ultimate power. The next, it could be reduced to nothing, a mere shadow of its former self. The balance of power was always in flux, a delicate dance that required both strategy and intuition. It was a game of wits, a battle of minds where every move could change the course of history. Sometimes they were celestial objects, stars and planets locked in a delicate gravitational dance. These celestial pieces moved with a grace and precision that was mesmerizing to watch. They followed the laws of physics, yet they seemed to have a will of their own. Their movements were a reflection of the cosmic forces that governed the universe, a dance that had been going on for billions of years. Other times, they were abstract concepts, pure energy given form. These energy forms were like living thoughts, ideas made manifest. They could change shape and color, adapting to the needs of the moment. They were the embodiment of creativity and imagination, a testament to the limitless potential of the mind. They were both beautiful and dangerous, a reminder that the most powerful forces in the universe are often the ones we cannot see. But always, they were in motion, their movements dictated by the players. The players were not just passive observers, they were active participants in the game. They had the power to shape the board, to influence the outcome of the game. Every move they made was a reflection of their strategy, their vision for the future. It was a game of infinite possibilities, a battle that would never truly end. They were beings of pure consciousness, entities that transcended the physical realm. Their essence was a luminous energy, a radiant force that illuminated the void. Incomprehensible to the mortal mind, their existence was a tapestry of intricate patterns and swirling energies, a dance of light and shadow that defied human understanding. They existed outside the normal flow of time, in a realm where past, present and future converged into a singular moment of infinite possibilities. Time was but a canvas for their grand designs. Each player was a universe unto themselves, a microcosm of boundless potential. Within their thoughts and dreams, entire galaxies were born and dissolved, a testament to their creative power. Their thoughts, their desires were the forces that shaped reality. One player was order, embodying the principles of structure and harmony. Their mind was a symphony of logic and precision. They were logic, reason, the immutable laws of physics. The other was chaos, a force of nature that embraced the beauty of randomness and the thrill of unpredictability. They were change, unpredictability, the endless possibilities of the universe. Their essence was a whirlwind of energy, a cascade of ever-shifting forms and colors. They were locked in an eternal struggle, a cosmic ballet of opposing forces. Each clash was a symphony of creation and destruction, a testament to the delicate balance of the cosmos, a cosmic dance of creation and destruction, where every moment was a fleeting glimpse of eternity, the yin and yang of existence forever intertwined in a delicate equilibrium. Each move on the board was a battle for supremacy, a strategic maneuver in the grand game of the universe. The stakes were the very fabric of reality, and the outcome would shape the destiny of all existence. Their eyes, windows to the infinite, reflected the vastness of their power and the depth of their wisdom. They were the architects of reality, the weavers of fate, and the guardians of the cosmic order. In the vast expanse of the cosmos, their influence was felt in every star, every planet, and every living being. They were the silent orchestrators of the universe, guiding the symphony of existence with an unseen hand. And so, the architects of reality continued their eternal dance, shaping the cosmos with their thoughts and desires, forever bound by the delicate balance of order and chaos. The rules of this game were beyond human understanding. Each move echoed across the multiverse. A single pawn sacrificed could eradicate entire realities. A well-placed rook could rewrite the laws of physics. Time itself was fluid here. It could be bent, broken, even reversed. With each move, reality glitched. Space fractured, then healed itself. Stars blinked out and reignited. These weren't just moves on a board. They were manipulations of the very fabric of existence. The game had reached a fever pitch. Each move now carried the weight of 1,000 dying universes. The players were nearing the end. The balance of power shifted back and forth, a cosmic pendulum swinging towards oblivion.
A timer appeared, suspended above the board. 10 minutes until the final move. 10 minutes until reality as we know it ceased to exist.
The players were locked in a battle of wills, each one refusing to yield. The tension was unbearable. The air itself seemed to crackle and pop. The very fabric of the hyperdimensional arena was coming undone. The moves became more erratic, more desperate.
Galaxies were consumed by black holes. Stars went supernova, their light a death rattle across the cosmos.
The countdown continued. Each tick of the clock sent shockwaves across the board, threatening to shatter it completely. The players were running out of time. Section 7. A Gambit for existence. The player of Chaos made their move, a daring gambit. They sacrificed their queen, a universe of infinite possibilities, collapsing it into a singularity. The singularity exploded outward, a wave of pure energy washing across the board. The move was reckless, a desperate attempt to tip the scales. The Order player hesitated. For the first time since the game began, they seemed uncertain. The outcome of the game, the fate of reality, hung in the balance. Section 8, Singularity, the Order player countered. They moved their king, a being of pure logic and reason, into the path of the singularity. The collision was inevitable. Time seemed to stop. The singularity, a maelstrom of chaotic energy, met the unyielding order of the king. The resulting explosion was beyond comprehension. It ripped through the fabric of the hyperdimensional arena, tearing a hole in the very fabric of existence. The chessboard dissolved. The players vanished. There was only the blinding white light of the singularity. Section 9. The game resets. Then silence. The light slowly faded away. The hyperdimensional arena was whole again. The chessboard shimmered, its squares reformed and glowed. The players were back, their forms shifting, their expressions unreadable and mysterious. The game had reset. The pieces were in their starting positions, ready for battle. Was it a new game? Or had this game been played countless times before? An endless cycle of creation and destruction. Section 10. Reality glitch? Did you feel that? A shiver down your spine, a sudden chill in the air, a sense of wrongness, as if the world around you has shifted slightly out of focus. Perhaps it's nothing, or perhaps it's a sign, a ripple effect from a game played out on a cosmic chessboard, a game where the stakes are higher than you can possibly imagine, a game that might just have you as the next pawn.